Welcome to Chittenden Solid Waste District's Recycling 101 webinar. My name is Recycle Rhonda. I am the School Outreach Coordinator, and I am delightfully joined by my two co-workers. If you guys care to introduce yourselves.
Sure. I'm Ethan. I'm Business Outreach for CSWD.
And I'm Robin. I work with events and community groups and multi-unit residential situations.
Hot dog. So they're the ones with the real answers. I'm just the entertainment for the day. So again, for those that may not have heard it, use the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a little button. Push the Q&A for entering your questions or comments, for that matter. We will be answering them live throughout the next 45 minutes to an hour. So without further ado, let's rock and roll. Dun, dun, dun. Hopefully I can figure this out. Oh, we might run into some technical difficulties, so bear with us because I'm working from home and my internet isn't always constant or that great. So Ethan's got my back if something happens. All right, we're gonna start off with who is CSWD? Whoa, settle down there, slide. All right, so Chittenden Solid Waste District is, well, we try to find fun and fantastical things to do with all the stuff that Chittenden County residents, businesses, schools no longer want or need. In 1987, Vermont legislature passed Act 78, and it was the state's first solid waste laws. And where they established solid waste management entities or districts, because Vermont is unique and always likes to do things differently, which I respect. So you'll find some towns that manage their own stuff. You'll find districts that have multiple towns involved. For us, for Chittenden Solid Waste District, we manage all of the materials that are generated and need to go someplace for the entire county, for the entire Chittenden County. We work much like a school district. We are a municipality and we are run by a board of 18 commissioners, one from each town, and then alternate commissioners too, in case one commissioner can't make it from a town. So every town has a commissioner and they have a say. So we basically can take orders from them, or they can ask us to do stuff, and then we have to go to them if we want to make some big changes. So it's not like we're out there willy-nilly making stuff up. We do have to go through them. Our mission at CSWD is to make sure that we are efficiently, effectively, and economically managing all of the stuff that's generated or created here in Chittenden County, and we are taking care of that stuff in an environmentally sound way. So with that said, oh, right, and then we manage a bunch of different facilities, but basically 4 types. We have Green Mountain Compost in Williston, where all the food scraps in Chittenden County come to get turned into fantastical food for the plants. We have 7 drop-off centers throughout the county. We also have the Environmental Depot, the safe place for your hazardous waste. And today's topic, the Materials Recovery Facility, or the MRF as we affectionately call it. So this is basically the place where all of your blue bin recyclables go to get sorted out and then sold on a market to those that are actually going to do the recycling. So we're not doing the recycling here. We're actually just sorting it all out and then shipping it out to places that will buy it and then turn it into something new. We have a very interesting relationship with the way the MRF is run, I guess. We, CSWD, own the MRF, and it is in a great partnership with Casella, operated by Casella. So all of the employees at the MRF are Casella employees, and it is run by them. So we have a good partnership working there. Let's see, I think that's all I wanted to say. Oh, so we're in a single stream. Oh, this building, I know, I'll go into a little history of it. So this building, this facility was built in the early 90s when CSWD became established and recycling became, a big thing. And so over the years, it's gone through some changes and metamorphoses. However, when this facility was built, it was built to handle about half, if not a little less than half, of the amount of materials that we are currently receiving. So we are in the market for expansion and building a new, bigger, and better. And that's one of the reasons we're here today, because we're going to look at what we have today, what we're working with today, and the exciting future of recycling right here in Chittenden County. So hold on to your hats. Why do we recycle? Well, I don't know why you recycle, but these are like 3 top reasons I think I truly believe in recycling. 1, save natural resources and energy. 2, save space in the landfill for real trash. And 3, it creates a lot more jobs than landfilling stuff. So going back to the saving natural resources category there, the picture is actually of an aluminum mine in Australia. And so my theories and thoughts on it are, if we could just keep all of the aluminum out of the landfill and recycle all of the aluminum that we have already drawn out of Mother Earth, then we might not have to actually do this sort of mining at all. So that was all once full forest, and you can see it's very fragmented there. And not to make anybody depressed. But the cool thing about metals, though, is they can be recycled over and over and over and over and over again, because metals have really cool bonds and very strong bonds. So that's one way there. And I think, you know, I don't know if this is true or not, but I like to think that if we all recycled throughout the world, recycled all of the aluminum, we could probably do away with mining it and just keep using it. Steel's the same way too, and tin. Saving space in a landfill. This is a picture of one cell from a landfill. It's about 8.5 acres. You know, and we toss a lot of trash into the landfill. I did forget that pie chart. Shoot, oh well. We do toss a lot of trash or a lot of things into the landfill, and you know, a bunch of that is recyclable materials. And I want to say it's 14% of what we toss by weight into the landfill. I'm not looking at the pie chart right now, so I'm not exactly sure if that's exact, but it's a lot of recyclables, or a fair amount of recyclables, that we still are tossing into the trash. So our hopes is that we can get that out of the landfill, save the space for trash. We are going to create trash. Nobody should feel bad about that. We just don't have to create as much. And then obviously creating jobs. So if you look at this, recycling will create 0.5 to 10 jobs per 1,000 tons of materials to get rid of, whereas landfilling, 0.1 job per 1,000 tons. So I say, let's keep the people employed. What kind of stuff do we sort at the MRF, at the materials recovery facility? So basically you toss it all into your blue bin. Somebody either comes and picks it up, or you bring it to the drop-off center, and eventually makes it to the MRF onto the tip floor. And we're going to take you through a quick little tour of that, a 6-minute video of the MRF, so you'll see how that works. And you know, I don't know if anybody on here has joined us for an actual live tour, and hopefully sometime, probably not until next year, but we will resume our touring as soon as it is safe to do so. So I would encourage you to get on the tour train when we are offering them again. But we sort all of the blue bin stuff into 10 categories. So basically cardboard including like your cracker boxes and cereal boxes too. The box board and cardboard kind of go together. Mixed paper, that's your newspaper, that's your office paper, your junk mail, magazines, that all gets put together in one category. Then we sort into 4 categories of plastic containers. One being number 2, clear plastic, so your milk jugs. Number 2, plastic, the colored stuff, basically your laundry detergent bottles. Number 1, plastic drink bottles. Most drink bottles are number 1 PET plastic. And then finally, the mixed plastic. But most of our plastic in the mixed plastic category are yogurt and butter tubs, the number 5ers. We also sort into glass bottles and jars, which will be turned into glass aggregate to be used in like road projects and such. Shredded paper, which you can put, the only thing that you can put in a plastic bag in your blue bin is shredded paper. Clear plastic bag, tie that bad boy shut. You can put that in your blue bin, and we sort that out at the beginning. Aluminum, and then steel and tin cans. So those are our 10 categories in which we sort our stuff into. And then once it's all sorted into its fun little categories, it'll get smashed into these ginormous bales that weigh, you know, somewhere around a ton per bale, per cube, and then it'll go out to the recycling market where it will get turned into something brandy new. Woohoo! All right, here's a look at our fiscal year 20, which started in July of 2019. This is the pounds of materials we processed at the MRF. Keep in mind, the current MRF that we have was designed to process half, if not less than half, of what we are currently processing now. We are at the breaking point of like having too much material, not enough space. So in total, last fiscal year, we processed almost 94 million pounds of materials. Crazy town. And you can see the majority of what we process is paper, be it mixed paper or cardboard. It is 71% of what we see. I've bumped out plastics here in this so you can see the different types of plastic that we sort into, the 4 categories. And the most of that is your drink bottles. Good figure. All right. Aluminum, steel, shredded paper. You can see the numbers in read. All right.
It's a little hard for us to read the labels, Rhonda. So maybe you can just explain. It's a little hard to read the labels on the slide. So the drink bottles are what kind of plastic? What's the label there on the pink place?
Sorry, drink bottles are PET plastic. It's the pink piece of pie. The milk jugs are the blue piece of pie in the plastic one. Thanks for pointing that out. It looks clear to me, but I have that advantage, I guess, of being right here. The maroon piece of pie is your colored number 2 plastic, so basically your laundry detergent bottles, and then your yogurt cups and butter tubs and all of that is that like a kind of brownish orange piece of pie. So the majority of the plastic containers that we see are the drink bottles, the number 1 plastic, PET plastic at 3% of the total amount of stuff that we process. And that's all by weight. Plastic is pretty light stuff, especially that number 1 plastic, drink bottles. All right.
Thanks, Rhonda.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. So now we're going to take a little tour of our MRF here in Williston.
Your blue bin. Think it's just another place to put your household waste? Think again. The things you put in this blue bin are actually valuable resources that are about to embark on an amazing journey we call recycling. This plastic bottle, when it falls into the bin, it's about to take a magic carpet ride to a new life. It could become another bottle or something like this fleece. This is the first stop on the journey, CSWD's Materials Recovery Facility, or MRF for short. Thanks to you, more than 80 million pounds of recyclables are processed in this building each year. They go through a wild series of spinning discs, speeding conveyor belts, whirling magnets. It's sort of like a Willy Wonka factory for recyclables. When they come out the other side, they're shipped off to market to be made into new products. Trucks come into this building. We call it the tip floor. That's because this is where trucks literally tip their recyclables out onto the floor. It can look like quite a mess, but that's only because the MRF hasn't worked its magic yet. Another machine, a skid steer or a loader, pushes it all onto the first conveyor belt, where it heads up the hill and into the pre-sort room. The pre-sort room is where the first line of workers take off bags of shredded paper for special handling. They also take out items that made it into your bin by mistake, like styrofoam, plastic bags, and hazardous materials. It takes concentration and quick hands, but it's important to get these contaminants out now. Contaminants lower the value of recyclables, and they can get caught into the machinery or even injure workers. Cardboard is the first material to be sorted. A screening machine with spinning discs pulls off big pieces of cardboard while everything else drops through it onto a conveyor below. After the cardboard, glass is next. Your recyclables go through something called a bottle breaker, which does exactly what it sounds like. It crushes glass into small pieces. That crushed glass falls through a screen onto its own special conveyor. The rest of your recyclables are still on the move. They're heading for 2 more sorting screens. We call paper, like newspaper and office paper, fibers. These items float on top of the screens, while containers, like plastic bottles and metal cans, bounce down the hill. The fibers head for a conveyor where workers pull out boxboard and cardboard for separate recycling, and they pull off any trash that might have sneaked by the first steps. The plastic and metal containers are headed for a special machine called a ballistic screen, whose rows of paddle arms weed out any leftover fibers and drop the containers onto their own conveyor. The workers on the next line are looking for plastic containers like jugs, tubs, and bottles. These plastics may end up as plastic or composite lumber, bottle caps, or even fleece sweaters. Each worker on this line is looking for a different type of plastic to sort, and each type of plastic needs to be kept separate. That's because every type of plastic is different. Companies that buy the kind of plastic used in water and soda bottles, for example, don't want other plastics. The color of the plastic can also make a difference. A colorless plastic milk jug is worth more because it can be made into more things than one that has been colored orange or blue. Next up, metal. Ferrous metals, or metals with iron in them, are in for a fun ride as they pass under a high-powered electromagnet, which lifts them off the conveyor and drops them down a chute into a bunker below. The last sorter on the line is looking for aluminum. Aluminum cans, aluminum pie pans, big balls of aluminum foil, and those products will be recycled into just about any other product you can think of made of aluminum. Aluminum siding, engine parts, or another aluminum can. After all the paper, plastics, and metal are sorted out, they're each baled into giant cubes that weigh up to 1,700 pounds apiece. These bales will be loaded onto tractor-trailer trucks and sold to companies that will recycle them into new products. These bales are worth a lot of money. Some are worth $30, some are worth more than $700. Each year, the MRF sells an average of $4 million worth of recyclables. But wait, we're not done yet. Remember that bottle breaker? Well, that broken glass took an exciting trip of its own past vacuums, fans, and magnets that picked out any paper, plastic, or metal bits that may have gotten mixed in. The glass then goes through a spinning cylinder called a trommel, and the end product is used in road building projects and in drainage projects. That's the end of this part of the amazing journey we call recycling. If you were a newspaper or a plastic bottle, your journey would have taken you only a half an hour from door to door. A to Z list on 2818. Remember, recycle right so the equipment and people at the MRF can do their job as effectively and safely as possible.
All right, so that is the look at our current MRF. And if you've noticed, there is a lot of hand sorting going on there. With technology in place, more technology in place, that would not necessarily be the case. So that leads us into what makes something recyclable. I know that we get this question a lot when we're giving tours, and even on the hotline, people call and ask if something's recyclable and why it isn't. So these are like 4 main drivers to what makes something recyclable. First, the technology must exist to sort and recycle the material. If the technology isn't there, we can't sort it out. And as I, our MRF our current MRF is probably about, a couple of decades behind some of the technology that has come out. So that is why in the next 3 to 5 years, we are hoping to have a brand new MRF with some fantastic technology that will help sort stuff easier, better, making it cleaner, because the second driver, there must be a buyer. So there has to be somebody that's buying this. We have to be able to market our materials in order to make things work. And people that, as you heard in the video, Claire saying, people that are buying #1, like drink bottles, #1 plastic drink bottles, they don't want other kinds of plastics. They don't want stuff mixed in there. With technology, and we're going to take a look at the future of a future MRF, or it's not a future MRF, it's probably been in existence for a decade or two, but it would be the future for us anyway. And they'll go through a lot of the different technology that we will be seeking to put into our new MRF in a couple of years. But we have to be able to sell our products, and the cleaner that product is, being it's one type of product. So it's #1 plastic, or #2 milk jugs. It's not mixed up with #3 plastic or anything like that. It's single type of material. And the cleaner it is, the more money one makes. But we have to make sure that there is a market for that. And as a matter of fact, CSWD, we like to make sure that there are 3 stable markets in order for us to accept something for recycling. So if one of those markets falls out, we got 2 backups. They might not pay as much, but at least they're a backup. If we can't find 3 stable markets, we cannot accept it as something that we can recycle. Vermont's also unique because we are a very small state, so we don't generate a whole lot of materials. And so even, little bit of something, it's going to take a long time to get enough of that to be able to actually sell it and send it to market. Third driver, the economics must work for the processor. The MRF being the processor, so it has to work for CSWD and it has to work for Casella. It costs around $3 million every year to run the materials recovery facility, the recycling center. So we need to be able to make sure that we are making that money, at least $3 million to, pay the people, fix equipment, and just make operations run. We get money from tip fees, like when the haulers come in, or the people picking it up at the curb at your house come in and they drop it off on that tip floor. They pay, a certain amount of money per ton. So we make money that way, but we also make money in selling the recyclable stuff to those that are doing the recycling. Last but not least, where you have the biggest effect, or we the people have the biggest effect, is the demand for recycled products. If we aren't buying stuff made out of recycled materials, then we are part of the recycling problem and not part of the solution. So I challenge you all to go, well, maybe you are home, to check out what stuff in your house is made from recycled materials. Easiest place to start is your paper products, your printer paper, paper towels, toilet paper, tissues, napkins, all of that. Make sure it's 100% recycled paper. If it's not, next time you go to purchase some, check out and make sure you're buying something made out of recycled material. All right, so now.
I can interrupt for a second, Rhonda. I just came across a cool product, which is called a decomposition notebook, that's now available as a school supply, and that's 100% recycled paper. So notebooks made with nice lined paper that is 100% recycled content.
Awesome. Thanks, Ethan.
Hey,
all right, so now we're gonna, are you okay?
Well, while we're interrupting, we did get a question in asking about China, and if is China buying recycled materials from us?
No, and they probably are not going to return as a big player in our recycling market. I just listened to a really fascinating interview the other day about that, but yeah, so they probably are not going to return as a place where we can send our recycling. We at CSWD, like our MRF, only was sending mixed paper to China. And a couple of years ago, they kept getting more restrictive on what they were accepting. And it wasn't because they were being jerks or anything, but they're trying to clean up their own environment. They kind of reached a saturation point in their own, in their own country, where they have enough materials that they can do their own circular economy and don't need to pull in materials from other countries. And all in all, the United States, we're all hopeful recyclers and putting things into the recycle bin that were truly not recyclable. One of the things that does make something recyclable is to make sure that it's made out of one material type and only one. So if you've got like a chip bag that's made out of plastic and metal and it's all stuck together and you can't get it apart yourself, that makes it not recyclable. Milk cartons, same thing. They are plastic and paper or cardboard stuck together and you can't get them apart. They are not recyclable. But we were sending a lot of stuff, United States, not us particularly, but the United States was sending China a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily recyclable, in hopes that it would be. But they were like, yeah, we just can't handle all of this. Plus, we've got our own stuff. So they did restrict a lot of things that were going over there. And I don't know that market's ever going to return. I listened to an interview, like I said the other day, that said that they didn't think that it was going to. So we, the United States, have to figure something out. And I know that other paper mills are coming back online and so on. And again, the only thing we sent from our MRF to China was mixed paper. And we have been taking a hit on that a lot, actually, big hits on that for the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, we spent about $1 million, in order to ensure it gets recycled. So we weren't making any money off of it. And a couple of years ago, we may have made $1 million on that a year on mixed paper, whereas now we're paying about $500,000 a year to get it recycled elsewhere.
But if I can offer some good news in that, Rhonda, it's that it's staying closer to home,
Yes.
right? That in general, we are not sending it as far afield, and some of it is now able to stay domestic. And we're hoping that with increased capacity, more domestic paper plants, more of it will stay domestic.
Exactly, and then that will level out. I mean, markets have, recycling markets have gone up and down, and I'll show you a chart later on that states that. But, so, hold on to your hats, guys, because this is what we are hoping for, something similar in the MRF arena in the next 3 to 5 years, is this technology piece. And it'll make life a lot easier on our sorters. It'll make our materials more sellable, more desirable. All right, here we go.
You're probably here to find out what happens to your recyclables after you set them out for collection. Well, let me tell you, you came to the right place. Welcome to the Green Waste Recovery Material Recovery Facility. Today, we'll go over what it is we do here at the Material Recovery Facility, or MRF for short. We'll be looking at the Recyclables MRF, which is just one of the 3 processing facilities here at Green Waste. We also have a Garbage MRF and a Yard Waste MRF, but we'll save those for our next tour. The Recyclables MRF is currently processing about 1,000 tons of single-stream recyclables every day and recovers over 95% of those recyclables. The process starts here at the scale. Trucks are weighed in once they arrive and again after they are emptied. The difference is the number of recyclables that are delivered to us to be sorted and processed. Recyclables are brought in by collection trucks with material from both homes and businesses. Sorters will take the first look at the material while it is still on the tip floor. They'll pull out any large recoverable items and contaminants that can later get caught in the machines. Using bucket loaders, the material is fed into the metering bin, where it is then spread onto the conveyor belt to begin its journey through the MRF. Once on the conveyor belt, the first stop is the pre-sort stations, where sorters remove contaminants, large items, film plastic, bag shredded paper, and rigid plastic before the material goes through any of the machines. During this initial pre-sort process, unopened bags are also removed and tossed down a chute where a bag breaker mechanically opens the bags and a conveyor belt reintroduces the material to that same pre-sort line. Following the pre-sort stations, the OCC disc screen is used to separate cardboard from the recycling stream. OCC stands for Old Corrugated Containers. The OCC screen uses a series of rotating discs designed to sort the material by allowing paper and other objects to fall through the disc while the pieces of cardboard float over the top and onto a conveyor belt that leads to a quality control sort station before going into a bunker for later baling. Directly under the OCC screen, glass falls onto debris roll screens, separating glass from the rest of the material and moving it into a glass cleanup system before it is hauled away to be further processed at a glass processing facility. The polishing screens, like the OCC screen, have a series of rotating discs that are set to separate the different types of material. These discs can be adjusted as needed. Currently, there are 3 polishing screens. 2 screens are set to separate newsprint, while the other is set to separate mixed paper. The newsprint or mixed paper floats over the top and onto conveyor belts, while the plastic and metal containers fall back. After each screen is a quality control station where sorters remove any film plastic or contaminants. Having vacuums directly over the post-sort stations helps in remove film plastic more efficiently from the rest of the recyclables. The plastic and metal containers, after falling back, continue onto the electromagnetic separator, where a large magnetic conveyor belt attracts ferrous metals. As the conveyor belt rotates, the material is released once it reaches the discharge point. These metals go through a post-sort station and into a bunker for later baling. The remaining containers continue on. Plastic containers go through infrared sorting systems that separate plastic containers by the type of material they're made of. We have a series of 3 optical sorters set to separate PET beverage containers, HDPE color and natural containers, and plastic containers numbers 2 through 7. After each optical sorter is a quality control station where sorters will pull off any material that isn't PET, HDPE, or plastics 2 through 7. Non-ferrous metals such as aluminum cans are separated using the eddy current separator by using a strong magnetic field to repel aluminum from the incoming material. After the eddy current separator, sorters will remove any contaminants or remaining recyclables from the scrap aluminum. Once the material has been sorted, we have 2 baler machines that are used to prepare the material for the market. Both machines can be adapted to be used for various types of material, and with the computer systems connected to the material bunkers, we can see when there's enough material accumulated for baling. After the material has been sorted and baled, forklifts load the material onto outbound trucks, which take the material to plastic processors, paper mills, or other end users so that the recycled material can be made into new products. We hope you enjoyed this tour of the recyclables, Merv. Be sure to check out our...
So that is like what we're hoping for in the next couple of years. You can see that the amount of material that the guys, that the people have to sort through is much more spread out. Right now, the guys on the sorting line are looking at about 20, 24 gallons of recyclables per second. And so having some time and some space in between there to actually pull out like the trash, so flip-floppy paper, flip-floppy plastic, or hoses, or whatever else might make it into the recycle bin that shouldn't be in there. They have more time to actually pull that stuff out and making it what we call a cleaner stream, or a stream in which is more desirable to those paying us the money. The next driver I wanted to touch on, just to give you guys an idea of the economics that have to work for the processor, being our MRF, is pretty critical, and even more critical now, and going back to that whole China thing, because the less money we are making, the less money we have to put back into the MRF. And like I said, it costs $3 million a year to run that, so we need to be making that at least. And hopefully more, so that we have money put away to like fix equipment and so on. And Casella has some money to, pay their employees and to, make a little bit of a profit at least. So this chart is average sales revenue. So this is from us selling the different types of material to recyclers over the years. And you can see there's been dips and such over the years. However, right now we are making on average about $42 per ton of the mixed material. So this is all 10 categories kind of all averaged out over the year. So 42 bucks a ton. It is more important now than ever that we the people are recycling right and following the guidelines of what can and cannot go into the recycle bin, because the cleaner the stuff is, the cleaner the materials or the recyclables you're putting into the bin, the more money that we're going to make, and hopefully we'll see this rebounding back up again sometime in the near future. All right, speaking of rules, we've come up with 3 major rules. These are not the end of the rules. It's not like these are the only rules of the recycling, but these are the 3 major rules. If you can't remember anything else, remember these 3 things. First, is what you're trying to put in the recycle bin, is it paper or a single-use container made of glass, metal, or plastic? Period. All right, single-use being it was intended to be used once and tossed into the bin. Not mason jars, not reusable water bottles. I don't care what those are made out of, but if it is meant to use once and pop into the bin or to get rid of, then it has a place in the recycle bin. If it is a reusable container and meant to be reused over and over again, has no business in the recycle bin. And that's only because, again, they are sorting 24 gallons of recyclables every second. They do not have the opportunity to pick up every single container and be like, what kind of plastic is that? So they know, we know that drink bottles are #1 PET. So as soon as, somebody's on the line and like, okay, today I'm on drink bottles, they just know they can pull out drink bottles. But with plastic containers or like Tupperware containers, you don't know what they're made out of. Water bottles, they could be made out of #7 plastic or #6 plastic or 2, 4, 1. They vary, and then we don't have the time to actually look at those numbers. 2, rule 2, clean, no food or drink. So rinse, 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 then recycle. That's the little chant that I sing to my kids, but it works for big kids too. This is 2 reasons. #1, and I think one of the most important is, you saw those guys, they have to touch this stuff, all right? And yeah, they're wearing gloves, but I don't know if anybody's been on a tour of the MRF, and in the summertime, it is smelly and gross, and it's because people are not rinsing their stuff out. We do a very good job here in Vermont, I have to say, but we can do better. So let's make their already hard job of sorting out all of the stuff that we generate, let's make their jobs just a little easier by rinsing all of our stuff out. Second reason rinsing stuff out is no food, no drinks in the recycle bin or in the containers in the recycle bin, is because if you are buying stuff to recycle, so if you're buying drink bottles off of me to recycle, the last thing you want is all sorts of mold or bugs or food, drink stuck on that. You want the cleanest product possible because you want to go chop it up, give it a little wash, melt it down and make it into something new. So we're going to get top dollar for the cleaner for clean material. So please rinse, rinse, rinse and recycle. All right.
Related to that, Rhonda, you could mention that that the buyers are paying by weight. So food is gonna, in a light plastic container, is gonna end up being a large portion of the load weight that they're paying for. That's gonna make them unhappy.
Oh, good point. I didn't even think of that. Good one. All right, last major rule to recycling is nothing smaller than a squirrel's head can go into your recycle bin. And I don't care what it's made out of. If it's not bigger than a squirrel's head, and if you don't know how big a squirrel's head is, make a fist about that size, but it's about 2 inches in 2 directions. But I bet you $100 you'll walk away and not forgetting that nothing smaller than a squirrel's head can go into the recycle bin. That's because tiny little things fall through with the glass. You saw that the glass goes through a breaker. Well, it gets all of these little plastic caps and straws and utensils all in it. And again, if that glass is to be used in road projects or construction projects or civic engineering projects, they don't want plastic in it. And we don't want to spend any more money. We spent about $500,000 in glass cleanup equipment a couple of years ago, which works stupendously. But we don't want to have to keep doing that either. So keep your small bits and bobs out of the recycle bin, please and thank you. On that note, on the other end, nothing bigger than a horse's head, say, can go into the blue bin either. So nothing over 2 feet can go into the blue bin, and that's because it'll get all tangled up or jammed up on the conveyor belts. All right, so no bigger than 2 feet long, and no smaller, or yeah, no bigger than that, no smaller than 2 inches in 2 directions for a squirrel's head. All right, are you guys ready? It's pop quiz time, because I feel like you guys have been sitting there listening to me yammer on. So now it's time for you guys to put your knowledge to work. So I'm gonna show you 2 pictures. I'm gonna show you 1 picture, and then I'm gonna pop a quiz up, and you're gonna click all of the true statements for each picture. So let's are you guys ready to go? Excellent. I can't hear you, so I'm not even giving you a chance to answer. All right, first picture, we have got bottle caps, we've got a can, we've got a wire hanger, and a doorknob. All right, I'm ready to launch the quiz here. That's the wrong one. All right, here we go. Quiz 1. Click all that are true. Don't be shy. It's anonymous anyway, so nobody's gonna know what you're clicking on here. Again, I'll repeat, it's bottle caps, a can, wire hanger, doorknob. Ooh. Dun, dun, dun. Woo! All right, such participation today. It's exciting. All right. Oh, man. Come on, let's do 100% participation. I never get 100% participation.
They were all participated.
All right, fantastic. So I'm going to end polling and share the results. All right, you guys did extraordinarily well. All right, here we go. So sharing poll results, that is fantastic. So yes, all of these items are made of metal. All of these items can be recycled infinitely, but not all of these items can be recycled in the blue bin. Fantastic. All right. So if you are not getting rid of your pull box, you can always X out of the top of that pull box. So the metal can go in the blue bin, all right, as long as it's empty, no drinks in it or anything like that. So you can pop that in the blue bin and that will get recycled. The bottle caps, the hanger, and the doorknob, all of which we find at the MRF are in the blue bins. Definitely they can be recycled, just not in the blue bin because they're not containers. Nice job. But you can bring this to a drop-off center, to all of our drop-off centers except for Burlington drop-off and Heinsberg, sorry. Burlington and Heinsberg do not accept scrap metal, but the other drop-off centers do. So you can bring it there, pop it in the scrap metal, and they will get made into new planes, trains, and automobiles, but just not in your blue bin. Make sure it is a container. All right, next quiz. This is the last one, I swear. Yeah, I am a teacher by training, so. All right, so here is a blue bin with, well, just with stuff in it. So we've got a milk jug, we've got a curly Q light bulb, I forget what they're called, compact fluorescent light bulbs. We got some batteries, got an egg carton, we got a water bottle, paper bag. In the back, I believe, is like an aluminum pie tin. All right, pizza box, if I did not mention that. It's like a frozen pizza box, I should say. All right, so I'm gonna launch the quiz here now. Hold on to your hats. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Click all that apply. All right. So can all of these items be recycled in the blue bin? None of these items be recycled in the blue bin? the batteries do not belong in the blue bin. The water bottle does not belong in the blue bin. Those are your choices. Oh my gosh, you guys are brilliant. Holy brilliancy. Oh man. Oh man.
I think you've got full participation.
All right. Thanks, guys. You're just like making my Wednesday. All right. So I'll share those results. All right. So not all of these items can be recycled in the blue bin. Some of them can. The milk jug, the paper bag, the frozen pizza box. As long as food does not touch the box itself, you can recycle the boxes that go into the fridge and freezer. You just want to make sure that it is strictly paper. So if you have like foil on the box, or I don't know what else would be on the box, but if it's like foil, like that Kerrygold butter boxes or whatever, they have like foil in them. So that's paper and metal stuck together. You can't get them apart. That doesn't get recycled. But if it's just straight up paper and your food's not touching it directly, boom, you can put that in the recycle bin. What does not belong in the recycle bin is the Curly Q light bulb. All right, bring that to a drop-off center. All but Burlington will accept that for recycling. It contains mercury, so be very careful with that, but bring it there, and the whole thing gets recycled at the light bulb recycler. Batteries, big problem for us at the MRF. If you recall, 71% of what we process there is paper, and when batteries still contain charge, which many of them do, and say a 40,000 pound piece of equipment roll over, you know, maybe not the alkaline batteries as much, but lithium batteries, they explode, and exploding batteries and paper together make fires. So we have had several fires at the MRF. Thankfully, nobody's gotten hurt, but let's limit that. Batteries are recyclable, just not in the blue bin, please and thanks. You can bring those to drop-off centers except for Burlington as well. And there's other retail outlets that will accept batteries for recycling too, something's more convenient. Last but not least, that water bottle does not belong in there. Why? Because it's not single use, exactamundo. If it is all busted up, then you just pop that into the trash. If it's just something like, oh, I'm done using this bottle, I don't want this bottle anymore, please take it to like Restore or Resource. I guess, did I see them at Goodwill too? Might accept them. Take them there. That's where I shop for all of my water bottles. I seem to somehow go through them quite a bit. I'm not sure exactly why, but I leave them on top of my car and then run over them. But I go there shopping because I'd rather reuse something than buy something new. All right, good job. I am so proud of you guys. Hot diggity. So here's just some common questionables, a lot of questions. So me, Robin, and Ethan all work the hotline. So if you've called the hotline, you've probably spoken to one of us. And then two other co-workers work the hotline as well. But so yes, for the blue bin, aluminum foil and baking trays. Again, that aluminum foil, I just had a call today about the little foils on top of like single-use yogurts or even the big tubs of yogurt that I buy. You can recycle those in the blue bin, but you just have to save up enough of them to make them bigger than a squirrel's head. So save them up, do it in a ball, and pop them in there. But do make sure that they're bigger than a squirrel's head or softball size. Stapled documents are fine. Paperback books, cardboard with packing tape, fine. Envelopes with windows are fine. And most boxboard packaging, again, the cardboard packaging boxes that your food comes in, as long as the food is not directly touching it. So no milk cartons, like the paper cartons, no like gravy or stock, what are those things called?
Broth?
Yeah, but what's the box thing called?
An aseptic carton.
Yeah, that's it, aseptic carton.
Or Tetra Paks is the brand.
Oh, right, okay. So none of that stuff because it's paper and plastic. So food is touching it directly. That means that there is a plastic liner in there and a barrier to keep the moisture in the package and other things out of it. Big no's, no food, no drink, please, please, please. But you can compost foods and drinks. No batteries, no clothing or fabrics of any kind. Those are what we consider special recycling. So the batteries can be brought to drop-off centers except for Burlington. The clothing and fabrics can actually go to Goodwill. They will recycle all of it. They'll pull out the wearables, and then they send off the unwearables and chunks of fabric to a recycler that shreds them up and makes like grease rags for garages. Tanglers, this would be your hoses, your strings. Cassette tapes, they are not recyclable. Those bad boys are trash. And those like long, I don't know the ages of people on here, but cassette tapes. Those long, the tape part gets tangled all over the place. This goes for receipts as well. So if you've got a really long receipt or you have like a rolled up thing of unused receipt tape, paper thing, do not put that in the recycle bin, please. They do cause hazards, not just get tangled in our equipment, but they get tangled in our feet. No ice cream pints and cartons. Again, food is touching it. The aseptic, oh, it was right there. Milk and juice cartons, small pill bottles, because they are smaller than a squirrel's head. I know you want to recycle everything, but we just cannot. Because again, keep in mind those Ford drivers, we just can't recycle everything we want to, but pill bottles are typically too small. We do actually have stickers. I'll show it to you as soon as we're almost done here with these slides. And paper with foil coating. So that includes like your wrapping paper that's all shiny and metally looking. Please do not put that in the recycle bin. If you did this year, don't worry, man. We're all human. We all make mistakes, but hopefully after today, not only will you learn not to put the foily wrapping paper in the recycle bin, but hopefully you'll be able to spread the word. Some other things.
Have we covered black plastic?
Oh, shoot. No, right. Sorry about that. So a big no on the no list is the black plastic. There are many reasons why we stopped accepting black plastic. One, super small amount of what we actually process at the MRF. I think it was like 0.06% or I think that's what it was, of what we processed was black plastic. Two, black plastic isn't a type of plastic, it's just the color of plastic. So it can be a number 1, it could be a number 2, it could be number 6. And again, we don't have the time, those guys do not have the time to sit and read what kind of plastic it is. So we don't know where to sort it. We don't have the technology to just kick it out of the line. We don't have the space to store it, and we don't have a market for it because people don't want it. We used to bale it with our mixed plastic, and the mixed plastic people were like, we don't really want black in there because when you mix it all together, you get like brown, gray, or more black, and they don't necessarily want that. So they were actually paying us $200 or something in that nature less a ton than if we kept it out. So these are some of the decisions we have to make, but those economics have to work out for us to be able to continue to process these recyclable materials. Thanks, Ethan.
Hey, Rhonda, is this a good time to, oh, actually, no, we'll wait till you get through this slide this may answer a bunch of the questions that have been coming in.
Okay, and I'm almost done, so we'll pop up on the screen because I'm done looking at these slides too. These are just a couple of things that you guys can do. First out of the gate, I want to emphasize, though, that reducing and reusing are always going to be much more important and much more effective at taking care of our planet and reducing climate change or whatever reason, saving resources, whatever reason you recycle, than recycling is going to. So I would highly recommend reading the what can we do as consumers about climate change. All of these links will be in a follow-up email to you guys. So you guys will be getting a follow-up email with a resource list. So you'll have all of these resources in that list so you can stop scratching frantically on a piece of paper. But flip-floppy plastic recycling, so flip-floppy plastic, for those that have not taken a class with me before, is plastic film. So like plastic bags and Ziploc bags and wrapping to your paper towels and such, all of that flip-floppy plastic can go back to grocery stores. Right now during the COVID or the pandemic times, definitely call and see if your grocery store is accepting it. I know that the Shaws in Hannaford in Williston do accept the plastic bags and such for recycling because that's where I live, and so I know that they do. But call ahead to your store to see if they still have their program open, and if not, just kind of maybe hang on to it or visit another store. But just always check before you head out there. Battery recycling, we kind of went over there, and reducing junk mail. Like, it drives me bananas. So you can stop getting the junk mail and unwanted catalogs. So by clicking on these links. And again, this will be included in the follow-up email that you'll be getting in like 2 days. All right. So I want to thank you guys. Well, we're not going anywhere, so don't hang up yet. Wait. But if you are not from Chittenden County, please do contact your local solid waste district or entity or town, depending on how you roll in your area, with any questions, because sometimes it differs between towns and such. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hello. All right, so there you go. How's everybody doing? Hanging in there? All right, questions. Let's roll.
All right. So you were just talking about flippy floppy plastic.
Yeah.
Someone's wondering where do they actually go when they're dropped off at the grocery stores? Are they
Fantastic question.
worried about them? Are they going to the landfill, or are they actually getting recycled?
So they're actually going to be recycled. Sorry, I keep like running over my shirt there. They are going to be recycled. With whom is, it depends on the grocery store. I know Hannaford and Shaw's both use a company called Trex. So what they do is they save up all their flip-floppy plastic from us, the consumers, and their own from all the pallet wrap and all of that. They bale it up and they stick it on those empty trucks. So instead, when their trucks come in to offload the groceries for the store, they load on their cardboard and the flip-floppy plastic, and they take it back, and then Trex buys it off of them. So, and then Trex shreds it up, and they make furniture like Adirondack chairs. They make decking. They actually make railroad, like train bridges out of flip-floppy plastic. In York, Maine, there is a bridge, a railroad bridge made out of flip-floppy plastic. It's very cool. Sorry, very exciting.
And someone else is wondering if a new exciting MRF with new technology, will that enable us to accept plastic bags?
Don't know. Probably not. I don't know any MRFs that actually accept plastic bags. Part of the problem being is if you envision yourself riding a bicycle with like flappy pant legs, and you're pedaling along and it gets stuck in the chain or the wheel and it gets all wrapped up. Let me see if I've got an example here. So we'll just pretend like this is flip-floppy plastic. I usually have that hanging around. But so, and then, in our sorting process in the MRF, we have a lot of spinning wheels, all right? Lots of spinning discs and such. So they're spinning around at a high rate. Those plastic bags come in, and they get all tangled up in there. Then we have to shut the whole plant down. Somebody has to get harnessed up and go out onto, they're not spinning anymore, but go out onto those screens, those discs, and spend time to cut it all out. Now, it is a dangerous, it's a hazardous job. I mean, waste management is one of the top most hazardous jobs in the United States, or maybe in the world, but it can be dangerous if somebody would accidentally flip a switch and turn all of that equipment on. So keep your flip-floppy out of the plastic bin, and I doubt I would say a big no on that, but who knows, between now and when we get it, maybe there's some magic technology out there that will help get plastic bags out of it, but I doubt it. Any other questions?
How about bottle caps and lids, just to remind folks? Those questions may have come in.
You can go ahead. I don't know what you're getting at, so go ahead.
Oh, so folks have been asking about bottle caps and lids, and they may have come, the questions may have come in before you mentioned it, but.
Oh, okay. So metal bottle caps you can save. Like I have a little 2-gallon bucket, like an old paint bucket, and I just pop all of my scrap metal in there. So like the metal bottle caps can go right in there with all of your other scrap metal. Plastic bottle caps, once you empty out and rinse and recycle, you can put that cap back on, tighten the head down on the body so it doesn't fly off, and pop that in the bin. We, a couple of years ago, got in touch with like the bottle recyclers, and they were like, sure, you can leave the caps on, because they have like an easy way they're two different types of plastic, but they have an easy way of differentiating the plastics. The cool thing about the different types of plastic is they have different chemistries and different densities. And so number one plastic, the PET, is really dense and it sinks in like water. And then like the number 2s and 4s float to the top. and they can like scoop them off and then they sell them and make bank on that. So put the caps back on, tighten them down, and then pop it all in. But just remember, rates.
Let's see here. A question about propane tanks and oil bottles.
All right, propane tanks. Definitely not in the blue bin. They, you can bring those to the drop-off centers, except for Burlington. And we will get them. We have a company that comes and picks them up. So please do not put those in the blue bins. I see that over and over again doing tours, giving tours, like piles of them, and they can be very dangerous. So please don't put them in your blue bin, but you can bring them to the drop-off centers, except for Burlington. You can bring them in at no charge. So please do that. And what was the other one? It was propane tanks and something?
It was oil, like pints of oil, motor oil.
Chuck it in the
Plastic
trash,
bag.
man. Drain it out, put the cap back on, and chuck it in the trash. They are not recyclable. No hazardous waste whatsoever in the blue bin. We had an accident there years ago with somebody putting in a half-empty can of bear spray, and it went off, and it sent, they had to evacuate everybody, and I think it sent like 20 people to the hospital, or maybe one person to the, it was bad. It was really bad. So please, no hazardous waste. If you've got hazardous waste and there's still stuff in the container, make an appointment to visit our environmental depot. And if it's empty, just put it in the trash, please.
And one quick point of clarification. I think this person was actually asking about a reusable propane bottle that you would put camp stove stuff in, not necessarily the canisters that you would buy at the store. So same advice goes, but if it can be clearly emptied and like you can take the cap off, they can go in directly in the scrap metal because it's clearly empty of hazardous substances.
Just let the propane or the fuel, butane, whatever the fuel is, let it evaporate thoroughly out of there, and then you can put it in scrap metal.
Let's see. How about labels on bottles and jars?
It's okay. Don't worry about that. If you're like me, though, you got in the habit of taking them off. And if you're in the habit, keep doing it. It's helpful, but it's not necessary.
All right.
Good questions.
Let's see. How are we rated by buyers? Are we doing a good job cleaning and rinsing our containers?
Yeah, I mean, my last knowledge on this, or last bit of information on this, is that we are doing pretty good, and we do get pretty good money. The markets are very coveted, and so Casella actually does all of the marketing, and they don't share a whole lot of information just because, not like because they want to hoard it all, but they don't want to get out like, ooh, we're getting, top dollar with this recycler, so that other people don't move in on our people. And like I said, we're small. We don't generate a lot because we're a small state. I mean, our state is half of the population of Boston alone. So we got to hang on to the markets that we got, the good markets we have. But we do a good job. We could be doing better, and we need to do better to get those numbers back up. So spread the word. Good question.
About cracked but not broken mason jars?
No, because mason jars are meant for reusing. They are not meant for single use.
How are they different from like spaghetti sauce jars?
I'm actually gonna suggest that we can consider mason jars single use for this purpose.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Because we know that they are standardized glass. We know that they don't have additives in them, and they're gonna fragment like other glass. So
Good. I learned something new today. Thanks, guys. Excellent. Well, that makes me feel better. So yes, if it's cracked, it's fine. Put it in the blue bin. As long as it's
reuse is better.
but if it's cracked, you can't really reuse it.
That's true.
But yeah, just put it in the blue bin. Hot dog.
How about 5-gallon buckets?
Yeah, so you can't put those in the blue bin, but please take off the handles. So rip the handles off. You can put if they're metal handles, you can put that metal handle into your scrap metal bin that if you don't have right now, you will have after today. So you can put that in the scrap metal and then just put your bucket right into the recycle bin. But again, it needs to be clean, please, and thank you.
Let's see, Dove chocolate, tiny little square pieces of foil. If someone puts them inside another piece of aluminum foil, like as part of their big ball of foil.
So long as they're just straight up foil. I don't know. So if it's like that, so I know some of them like paper on one side and foil on the other, that's a no-go, because again, if it's two different things that are stuck together and we can't get them apart easily, like we can't get them apart, then there's no place for them in the recycle bin. So, but if it's just straight up foil, sure. Make sure it's like a little, like make sure it's clean, and yeah, pop that in with your foil ball. That would be perfect. Or put it in the scrap metal, because that's what I do. Since I have a scrap metal bin, I just put all those little bits in there.
How about plastic containers that do not have a number on them?
That is just fine and dandy. So they will get sorted into the mixed plastics as long as they are a container and they are clean, no food, no drink. So it doesn't matter if they have a number or not, they'll just go into that mixed plastic category.
All right, that covers, I think, all of the questions that have come in.
Awesome sauce. All right. Well, thanks guys for joining us today for a little Recycle 101 and getting an inside look into the MRF. If you check out Recycle Rhonda's YouTube channel, you will see a tour, a virtual tour that we did at the MRF. This was a couple of years ago. It's like 2 years ago. I can't believe it's 2021, but so I did it with it for a school, but the tour shows you some things that 6-minute video does not. So it would be, you know, if you want to check out a tour in the meantime while we're working on straightening up the pandemic, feel free to check out. There's other resources there too. CSWD also has a YouTube channel that has some great videos and resources on it as well. So
there's one more question, Rhonda, about a light bulb.
I don't know, I'm going to start charging soon. No, just
I know. So I'm just going to quickly, the mercury-containing light bulbs, which are either the corkscrew CFLs or the fluorescent tubes, whether they're straight or U-shaped or the circular, but the tube-shaped fluorescents are the mercury-containing ones, which can be recycled through our drop-off centers or most of our drop-off centers, or through our environmental depot. LED bulbs, the newest ones, and the old incandescent bulbs are both trash. So those do not need to be recycled.
Correct. Yep. Because if you bring them in for recycling, they're just going to go in the trash. So we don't have a program for those yet. But who knows what's down the road? One never knows. So, but yeah, LEDs and the Thomas Edison bulbs or incandescent bulbs can go in the trash. And then your curly Qs and long fluorescents and circulars can come. But the, yeah.
We have a raised hand from a participant. Let me see if I can.
Holy bananas, a raised hand.
Very exciting. See, I am going to try to allow her to talk.
Oh, all right. Fantastic.
Anne, are you out there?
She was there. I just saw her like name pop up, but.
All right. So one other question came in that I hit the wrong button, so I couldn't type the response, but someone would like to know where they can join the Rhonda Mace, the Recycle Rhonda fan club.
Oh, I don't know, man. Start it up.
I was going to send a very witty response and I hit the wrong button and then it's gone.
Oh, I did want to say, I forgot about this. I did want to say, so we do have these fabulous stickers. So to put on your blue bin to measure. So if you are interested, you can shoot me an email and I will pop 1 or 2 in the mail for you and get it out. I find them extremely helpful. Oof, geez, this camera thing. Just smack right on your blue recycle bin. And basically what you're gonna do is like, I don't know, is this big enough to recycle? And you stick it, again with the opposites. stick it in front of the sticker. If it does not cover the whole sticker, it means it is too small and cannot go into the recycle bin. So they're really convenient at schools, but they're convenient for everybody because not everybody knows what 2 by 2 inches is or how big a squirrel's head is. But it's a little, in my head, a little more imaginable.
Someone is wondering about the questions that were in the registration. I'm not quite sure what they mean. Did we have questions?
Oh, goodness. Did I?
So what we can do probably, Rhonda, is just include the answers in the follow-up email maybe.
Okay. I can't
Would that work?
recall what I put in the registration for a question. I know that I did, but I forget what
I think it was a bit of a quiz about what's recyclable, perhaps.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I totally wow, I dropped the ball on that one. My apologies, guys.
We'll get it in the follow-up email.
Yeah,
so you won't have to remain in suspense.
Yeah, so sorry about that. This is kind of like a new webinar that we're offering. So this is like our second try at it. So it's you know, live and learn, right? So with that said, with the follow-up email, you will get a link to a feedback form. We greatly appreciate your honest opinion. What went well, what didn't go well, how can we improve, questions that were left unanswered. That would be stupendous, so that we can continue to hone our educational skills, especially online these days. So any other questions? We're good?
We're good.
All right. And again, if something pops up into your head, you've got my email. I will include Robin and Ethan's email too in the follow-up email. So you guys will get that. This webinar has been recorded. So in 2 days, with the follow-up email, you'll get a link to the recording as well. And so you can sit and watch it all you want when you're bored. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. This has been a blast. And remember, rinse, 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 and recycle. All right, but always reduce and reuse before you recycle. Have a great day. Enjoy. Happy New Year's.